What it do? Crispy crew. Yeah, so whatchamacallit? I would drop the video explaining or talking about the fall off from J. Cole a good little bit ago. Issue is that man has an issue. Alright. Uh I gave that album way too high of a score because I ended up having to re-listen to that John. And it's a questionable one. For those who have not listened, the album is about, I wanna say, 28 songs long, if I'm not tweaking. It's essentially a double disc album, which isn't an issue, but the first disc, in hindsight, had a lot of misses, and I kind of feel like that I gave it way too high of a score, mainly because of the fact that J. Cole's album was really weak for the first half. The second half, in my personal opinion, really started to showcase a lot of what J. Cole's really good at, which is just general lyricism, but also a lot of love songs. People kind of don't give him credit for being able to make a lot of songs regarding his feelings along about love. And I believe that's a very important thing to at least take the consideration of thinking about when at least properly critiquing his music, right? But the issue is that I gave that album way too high of a rating because I said that it might have been his best album, let alone a good retirement album. Or I said it was top five J. Cole. It's not top five J. Cole. It's not top five J. Cole, like in the slightest, actually. Um, in my personal opinion, it's probably like one of the worst examples of letting something drag on for too long. And this is by no means a bad album either. Like, I genuinely think that it's a good album. At least for J. Cole's discography, I just don't think that it's that good. Like, because after re listening to The Fall Off, I took some time to re listen to a bunch of other albums that he also had dropped. You know, things like Born Sinner, Forest Hills Drive, uh, whatchamacallit, For Your Eyes Only, and even KOD. Um, I also ended up re-listening to Might Delete Later, and I think it's safe to say that the only album that I've listed out of that might not have been as good was Might Delete Later. Like, it's arguably top five Cole, but not kind of. Like, I don't know. Might Delete Later is one of those albums where, or I guess mixtapes, where I have to like really take the time to like really re-listen to it and really deep it for me to give a proper explanation on how I genuinely feel it ranks in J. Cole's discography. But the issue is that J. Cole was on the cuffs of, in my personal opinion, making a modern classic whenever he dropped this album, right? But the issue is that I feel like that he not only let things drag on for too long because the album was insanely long. It was two discs, and I don't feel like that some of the songs on the first disc were necessary, but that's neither here nor there. Then take into consideration that the second disc I felt was also too long, but also had some of one of the greatest songs J. Cole decided to put the pen to paper to. Because one thing I will never deny is J. Cole's lyricism ability. Now, while I don't think he is the absolute best at what he does do it is a very fair show. And I believe that this too very much showcased that, with specific songs being The Villist and Lonely at the Top wasn't disc 2, but it's a really good standout track of what I believe kind of helps with that. Or The Fall Off is Inevitable is also another good example of this. Also, I was wrong about the length of the album. They're not. It's not 24 songs. Nah, it's not 14 songs each. It's 12 songs each. But even then, I feel like some of those songs on 12, well, some of those shouldn't just have not been there genuinely. In other news, though, I will say though, like when I first made the video, I made a statement on some of the standout tracks that I had for the album, and I don't think that those standout tracks are the same after re-listening to the album, because I believe decent examples of standout tracks that are actually here would be once again The Villist by J. Cole and Erica Badu. Whatchamacallit, I Love Her Again, which I believe was a really good I don't remember if it was a sample or an interpolation of Common's song Love Like This, I Fell Out of Love. So I forgot what song Common made where he sampled, but whatchamacallit, I feel like that was a really good way to basically talk about his confession or reconfession of love back to hip hop. I think that was a good one. But I will admit though, like I feel like everything that J. Cole excels at as an artist, he and also everything that he does not excel at or does bad at were both showcased the absolute most within this entire album as a whole. With the corny bars about about the mulatto line that he had in the Villist, whatchamacallit. Even though it was a good song, that line was still corny. But once again, that's not even a nitpick. That's just an observation. Yes, the staleness in his production is kind of also where I go for here, because on first listen, I thought that it was okay, and he tried some things like the let out. He tried some shit. Bombs in the Ville slash hit the gas. Like he tried some different aspects of his production style, but I don't think that it hit the mark what he was going for. It was one of those decent scenarios on paper, but not in practice. That's how it felt for me personally. Um, but I don't know. That's generally this isn't even supposed to be like a rant or anything, but this is just generally something that I've somewhat noticed about just J. Cole's entire discography. Not even this entire discography, just his specific album, The Fall Off. I just felt that this album could have been much more. I feel like this album could have been better if he cut certain songs out. Because I don't know if, like, Run a Train, in hindsight, where the song was like, I don't know. Safety was another good one. Where, like, great story ish. But I don't know. I just wasn't, in hindsight and re listening to it, I'm not fucking with it. But also, my main issue is on Poor Thing as well. And I know that what people may be saying, oh, you want him to be dissing this person and that person and this person. I don't want him to be dissing anybody. But when he comes out on interviews and then continuously tells people, yo, whatchamacallit, this isn't even about one singular person. This is about a whole myriad of people that he proclaims. And then that begs the question of, like, I get it that that's the emotion you're trying to go for, but if you're trying to sell this emotion, it would make sense at very minimum for the audience that you're trying to relate to if it's to one person. But the fact that is that it's not to one person, it's to a whole myriad of niggas. What nigga you know that's not gang affiliated? Which, if we're being honest, if we're listening to most of J. Cole's fan base, a good majority of them are not. If you're going from the relatability aspect, because he even said explicitly he wanted people to feel how he felt in this moment, or moments, whatchamacallit, you're not beefing with a plethora of people, you're beefing with one person. And in the song, you weren't describing a bunch of different situations, you were describing one nigga. So now it just feels like that you're just lying. And that's my thing about J. Cole. Then he even goes to say that he feels that even on record saying that he does not feel like he's the greatest artist in the hip hop industry, but then turns around on songs and then be self-proclaimed on it. So it's like J. Cole cannot pick a side for himself, to the point where I'm just like, hey, even whether you actually believe it internally or not is one thing, but you should not go out on record and saying it and then being on your song and being like, yo, I'm the best. Because I get it, every rapper does that, but also every rapper pops off and say that they're actually the best though. And on top of that, a lot of people try to make the NBA comparison, including J. Cole himself, of, oh yeah, why can't we just let these basketball players all be great? The issue is, it's already a competitive genre. It's been like that since the nature of it. And if you don't like that, it's whatever, I guess. But don't pussyfoot around the fact that it's competitive. And don't blame it on the fans when you're talking competitive nature in your music but don't want to back it up. Because that's what happened. The issue is with my issue with J. Cole as it stands right now is that he is not standing on pretty simple values that he proclaimed. The issue is that he decides he's not going to take any type of accountability for what happened, and, oh yeah, I got peer pressure to make these diss records. You're a grown man. You're about like 40, I think. I think J. Cole is around 40 years old. You're getting peer pressured on the internet, the one thing you claim not to use, to diss other people. That's not even. That's not even. I don't even want to make that the focus of this video. But I will say that J. Cole, I feel like, I don't know. It's just not. It's not matching up. Like, it just seems like that he's just straight up lying for the sake of lying, and on top of the fact now he's going out talking about some being a Diddy apologist essentially, because apparently he had a song where he was talking about his fight with Diddy, but he never wanted to put it out because, to quote, punch men while they're down. Meanwhile, he had an entire song called False Prophets. What? I'm not even gonna. I don't know. This feels like this is needed to be a much more structured video that I need to remake soon. But for the time being, this is what y'all get. If you like this video and you like my analysis on hip hop or things of that nature, be sure to like the video and subscribe. And be sure, once again, I'm gonna keep saying it. Deep fry that like button. That's not even funny. I don't even know why I did all that, bro. Y'all have a good night, bro.